So it looks like F1 24 might be done getting any meaningful further patch support for the rest of the game cycle. So this is the perfect time now to put out some ideas and things that I feel like need to be added or fixed into F1 25, because clearly that is where EA's head is at now. They are winding down support for F1 24, apart from some minor updates for the end of the season, like driver ratings, and they are focusing now their attention to developing and finishing off the development of F1 25 into the new year. And I've got 8 different features slash fixes slash tweaks that I hope are going to be there. But just to clarify why I think this is kind of the time where F1 24 is seeing its last bit of meaningful patch and live support in terms of improvements, is because they recently updated their community issues site. Basically, if you don't know, the entire time, this is their kind of new thing they've been doing for a couple of years, where there's this site for every game where they show what is being investigated, what's awaiting a patch, and what is resolved. Now, there's also closed cases, and there's a pretty major big thing that has been closed. So tracks, potential ongoing issues with invisible bumps at, well, there's a whole list of them, apparently. Turn 13 Spain, Turn 1 Bahrain, Turn 14-15 Miami, Turn 15 Silverstone. I've had my own one in a different turn at Silverstone, obviously quite recently, in career mode, and unusual collision behavior with the curb at Turn 13 China. Improvements to these areas won't be made for F1 24. These issues will be investigated for our future titles. So I think that's a pretty major and clear indication that they are now swapping over the attention. And this is, well, I've said this before, but it's quite laughable that AI, possible additional work, is still being investigated. Like, it's being investigated since like the first month of the game being out, and it's still being investigated. But I don't think it's ever going to basically be resolved until next year's game. They may as well have added it to this closed section. But basically, here, patch 1.15 for F1 23. That's when F2 came out for F1 23. F2 came out, of course, on F1 24 on patch 1.10. So it came a lot earlier. So ignore the actual numbers of the patches. Instead, just look at the timeline of F1 23. And basically, at this point of the year, things started to move over to F1 24. Obviously, talking about last year in 2023, because the below issues have been updated as of Thursday, November 23rd. So November 23rd, 2023, that was the last day that F1 23 really got looked at for any new patches to fix things. So it's probably safe to say the same sort of timeline will happen here. I think it's going to happen earlier because they know how much of a lost cause F1 24 is. So that is why I think it's the perfect time right now to put in my first big, like, this is ideas I've got for F1 25. Not even ideas, really, just things that honestly I'm expecting and I hope that they are looking at, because anyone that's really done research on what the community has been saying and research about what people have been saying about the career mode and things that need to be fixed or changed or whatever, a lot of this stuff is very apparent and should be apparent already, but I just want to put it out in this video in case it wasn't. And I still think it's early enough in the game cycle, in the development of F1 25, that, like I said, a lot of these things are actually fixes and tweaks they need to make. I think it's not out of the remit for them to be able to implement these things if they actually hear about them now. So like I said at the start of the video, I've got 8 different things here on my list of like things I'm hoping that will be there in F1 25. Obviously, there are probably more that might come to mind that aren't in my mind right now. So please let me know in the comments below ideas and tweaks you think need to be made from F1 24 into 25, or just fully new ideas and features you think that should be added to F1 25 and beyond for career mode, because the hope is someone from EA is going to see the video, hopefully, and actually take the comments seriously as well, and take it as like a big kind of message board of things that the community want to see, basically. Because I feel like most of my viewers, you guys, play single player, I think, like me. That's why you watch me, maybe, I hope. So, you know, I think it's a good yardstick of where that part of the F1 community. But the first thing I've got on my list here is fix the AI. Simple as that. Just fix the AI. I don't know what has happened, whether it's training them to use ERS properly or DRS versus dirty air. There's a lot of debate about why the AI or why the racing is poorer on F1 24. But whatever the hell happened, just fix it. Fix it. If the AI don't ship on F1 25 as fun as they used to be on F1 23, even F1 22, even F1 2021, 2020, 2019, you're getting a pattern. If it's nowhere near that, honestly, I don't think I'm crazy for saying don't even bother shipping it. Don't even bother shipping it. Or at least don't bother shipping the single player. I don't care if there's a story, a third edition of Breaking Point, or, there's all this new stuff in my team. If the AI, the thing you play against the most in these single player modes, is not fixed and fun again like it used to be, there's no more trains and whatever, they actually go for moves as well, there's mistakes, there's actually crashes again and all that stuff. If it's not fixed, there is little point shipping the game, because it's just the same thing, just reskinned with, oh, there's my team now, but the racing's still shocking. So it's pretty simple. Fix the AI. Fix the AI. They should be spending most of their time just understanding how on earth the AI have taken like 5 years worth of development backwards in terms of how fun they are. Because honestly, F1 2019 had better AI than F1 24, and that's mad. Number 2, again, this is something I've stated in previous videos, but just to keep it concise in one video here, better and more driver transfers. There need to be way more. I'm talking at least there should be a minimum of 4 to 5 driver transfers from season 1 to season 2, and maybe within that a minimum of 1 major top 5 team transfer, wherever they want to put them. But there should be some encouragement there in the coding to let that happen, because you're not going to get longevity. You're not going to get people playing the game long enough to get a career-defining rivalry or heated rivalry if the seasons are so bloody boring and so similar season to season. And this year, because the modding tools haven't been great to do that myself and ourselves on PC, it's opened my eyes to how actually boring and bland the transfers were on consoles, which I think still the majority of people playing the game are on PlayStation, are on Xbox. So in a sense, I'm kind of sorry that I've not seen it earlier. But yeah, they absolutely need to do better with making the game more interesting season to season with transfers. That's going to get me on to number 3, because failing that, I think there needs to be a roster or F1 grid editor system menu that's available in career mode only, because I know licensing, it needs to be the official F1 game for that year, so they can't just give us maybe a roster editor like in FIFA of old, to edit any of the teams and drivers off the bat in the base Grand Prix game. But just like they did with allowing Portimao to be added, an unofficial F1 track, onto the calendar after season 1, allow us a sort of debug menu somewhere in the settings, like the career settings, give it us there, where you can go in and if you want to, you can edit the grid yourself and make some transfers for yourself. And that also follows into going back to Grand Prix mode, actually. Let us just edit the grid for a Grand Prix mode. I don't understand. Old F1 games that are 20 years old allowed you to just set up a one race and put the drivers where you want. I want Verstappen P10, I want, Leclerc P1, I want Colapinto P8 or whatever. Let us actually just make a simple editor for the grid, like you do in multiplayer. Custom grid on multiplayer is there, so why not allow that in single player for Grand Prix? Because it just straight away gives you more content in terms of people wanting to recreate real life races or do a scenario or whatever. They can do that. I'm tying those two together because it's a similar concept of editing where people are. But yeah, I think some sort of debug or roster editor after season 1, encased in career mode, so it doesn't infringe on any licensing, with it being the official season in the rest of the game, I think is a must if they can't improve the transfers. And also, that sort of tool will be life-changing or game-changing for console players and also now PC players, because we no longer have a tool like that for modding for PC. So it will change the entire player base's way they can play career mode and let players decide what kind of story they're going to make for seasons to come in career. Number 4 is they need to look at the contract system. I know they tried to do something, new, and parts of it were impressive with the contract system on this year's game, and they were interesting, but a lot of it also was not implemented well. And I honestly think they need a mix of the new contract system and the old one, because they need to bring back the mid-season contract point, because allowing transfers of AI or you in the middle of the season was such a genius way of spicing it up. And the fact they removed that in driver career mode, I'm pretty sure it must still be in my team in F1 24, right? Because they didn't touch my team for this year. But I'm basically saying into 2025, obviously the notion is probably they're going to be redoing my team now in 25 because they gave it a rest for 24. So it kind of, figures they're going to do that for 25. So I'm saying right now, Cody's, if you have changed the contract system in my team 25 to mimic 24, put the red button on, put the brakes on, bring back the mid-season teammate signing in the middle of the season. That was actually a good thing because it just made it more dynamic in the middle of the season. But going back to the way the new contract system was implemented, I think it's a big mistake that in F1 24 with the new contract system, at the end of the season, if your reputation is high enough in your current team, or you are accoladed enough as a driver, or let's say even you just won the championship, you're a reigning champion, you, on the screen where you choose your next team, you should have free reign. You should be able to choose whatever damn team you want. You're a world champion. You're not going to say, if you're like Sauber, you're not going to say no if the reigning champion wants to come to you. Yes, I know in real life there's the case of, money and whatever. It's not real life. It's a game. So let's just stop being too, restricting, and just make it a bit, and this is realistic. If you've got that higher level of reputation, you should be able to walk into whatever team you want. I get it. There's some realism of if you're coming up through the grid, you should only have a few choices, or depending on the academy you picked, you have only certain choices. That's fair enough. But once you are high enough rep, you should be able to do whatever you want, because basically it stops replayability after like season 2 or season 3 of career mode. Because if you're pigeonholed into what teams you can pick by the game, you then can't create a story that you're going to want to play. You're going to have to try and play whatever thing the game is giving you, and most of the time it's quite boring. The choices are dull, very dull. Secret meetings, I think they were cool. I keep them in. I think they were fun. Hopefully we'll be able to do secret meetings or some sort of thing like that in my team. That'd be pretty cool. Like if you're in a secret meeting with another driver to replace your current teammate, that's a bit cheeky. You're the boss going behind your own teammate's back to sign someone. That would be kind of cool as a dynamic and whatever if you got caught and your teammate is annoyed with you. So it'd be cool to still have the secret meetings in F1 25, because then it just wouldn't be the team that's annoyed with you. It'd be your own teammate might be irked that they found out that you're trying to replace them, and then maybe they're more aggressive towards you, or maybe they're not going to perform as well. So keep that, but I think you should be able to do multiple streamlines of secret meetings, i.e. you should be able to court multiple drivers to sign for your My Team career mode team, or if you're doing driver career mode, you should be able to court multiple teams, because in real life that's what some of the best drivers do. They're talking to multiple teams about signing for next year. They don't wait for one team's discussions to end after you deny a secret meeting and then you get another set. In real life it would be parallel, it would happen at the same time. So definitely having those happen at the same time would be really great. So finally, moving on to the next point, number 5 is a revamped R&D system, or just the UI basically. And I think a lot of people are agreeing with me in previous videos of this. Bring back the R&D tree, bring it back. It's been a couple of years. Last time we had it was F1 2020. Bring it back. Actually, there was no reason to get rid of it. I know at the time it was exciting because the UI changed, but I think honestly now, having played this new UI for a couple of years, the tree was more interesting because it actually meant in career mode saves, you could see different teams' trees, and you could see like, oh, this team has a lot more upgrades to do in the engine department or the chassis department or aero, and it was interesting to see that difference. And I think they can do a best of both worlds. You can have the tree, and then you zoom in on the button, and you can zoom in to what we have now, where it shows the different icons. So I think you can have the best of both worlds, basically. And then in different ways, I think you could be just revamping the R&D system to have different kinds of upgrades. I know they've tried this whole thing with secret upgrades, which are the reputations, but, you know, especially going into a future F1 game for F1 26, it would be great to be able to do specific upgrades for next year's car, like specifically buy them for next year's car, maybe. Number 6 is going to be far more variety and customization with the R&D scenarios. I loved the addition of R&D scenarios. That was good, but it was a little bit too constricting in terms of the way I would like them to be. I think they need to be customized, so you can just go, I want this R&D scenario to apply just to the player or just to the AI. Exactly like you have the little slider settings where you can do reduced or increased R&D settings for the player or AI. I think the R&D scenario needs to have a slider for both player and AI, just AI or just player, because I think it'd be really cool. You know, let's say if you were, you know, you did a bit too good in, I'm saying for now, my team career mode. Let's say the scenario is you've done so well with my team. You've built your team up. You've got max facilities, max everything. And you've been able to, you know, make a great car for next season. An R&D scenario where everyone else has unlimited R&D and you don't would be great as a scenario, or a chip shortage just for you, so that you can make it difficult for yourself and allow the AI to catch you up, or vice versa. If you feel like the AI are too OP, you can do it the other way around, or you can just mix it up. You know, you could maybe choose even a specific, you know, you could do a setting where it's this R&D scenario only applies to the top 5 teams or the bottom 5 teams, so you can mix it up in that kind of way and play around with it and customize it a bit more, so it's a bit more dynamic rather than just a broad stroke brush of a scenario. Because I like the idea, just a bit more finessing into the next year. The second year we're going to have the R&D scenario, hopefully. That'd be great. Number 7, and I know this is a massive one regarding my team career mode, because I have seen people crying out, those of you who did bother to play my team career mode in F1 24, it was absolutely hooning this year for liveries, helmets, and whatever. And they kept banging on about, oh, it's there. You can, you know, get them in the store or whatever, or the podium bar. They would even if you did that, they were rubbish. Like, they just weren't that worthwhile, and they haven't really been that worthwhile. There's been a lot of lackluster liveries, and I say this every year. Way better liveries, way better helmet designs, or I'll keep banging on about it. I'll keep mentioning it, even though EA will probably never do it, because yeah, there needs to be a customization tool, just like Forza Horizon, just like Gran Turismo, just like, you know, almost like any sort of AAA polished racing game would allow you in the modern age to make your own livery and allow the creativity of artists in the community to blossom, you know, like many other genres of racing brands, games do. Yeah, we've been saying it for years now, and I'm still going to say it because, yeah, it would be a lot better than the podium pass system, but I also know business is business. I know why they'd never do it, probably likely because the podium pass is where they can make some sort of monetary value back from the game after launch, which is, well, it's not fairs, but in terms of, you know, I'm business savvy enough to kind of be like, look, that's just the modern age. And my final point here, it's the last one, because I think it's very unlikely, even though I think this absolutely should be a thing in F1 25, building your own engine. And that's familiar as an idea, because obviously last year on F1 23, I made a whole mod and an idea for this. I basically gave them almost like a blueprint, a fan-made blueprint of how a mode like this could work in my team career mode. And I just think it's an absolute travesty, the fact that we're going into 2026 in 2 years' time. All this talk about teams building their engines, Ford coming in for Red Bull, Audi coming in as a new brand. It's a travesty if we don't get a build your own engine thing inside my team, either in F1 25 or 26. Like, if I was working at Cody's and I was like one of the lead ideas people or producers, whatever, I don't know, game designer, whatever, I feel like build your own engine would be right up there. Like, fix AI, build engine, do the rest. Like, it's like a huge open goal win as a feature. You're creating your own team. Why not create your own engine? How exciting would that be into a new set of engine regulations in 26? It would be outstandingly fitting for what F1 IRL is going into in 2026 to have a build your own engine in 25, or this is why it's the last point. This thing is probably, if they've already not thought of it, it's too late to be put into F1 25, but I'm imploring them to explore it for F1 26 because it will just the marketing would do itself. The teams have built their own engines this year for the new era, and so can you in create a team career. Like it's I don't understand how it wouldn't be an open goal, like win to do something like that. It'd be crazy. It'd be so good. So yeah, but I also think it's something that unfortunately they're probably not looking at because we've heard nothing about it. And I just, well, I've now lost. You guys know me. Every time we talk about ideas and we go into a new game cycle, I always reset expectations. I don't like to be negative. I like to be positive about these games because I love playing them and I love the game. I want it to grow. In all honesty, this year, F1 24 has burnt my positivity a little bit. It's burnt my hopefulness for what EA will do, and it's made me more cynical now with, this whole mantra of, yeah, I'd love this, but probably they won't do it because they're EA or they're them. So, that's where I'm at. I think those 8 points are my big ones that I feel like are the biggest things for me playing career mode that I want to see them tweak or add or whatever. But like I said, let me know your ideas in the comments below. There might be some great ones that I've just completely missed or have just skipped my brain. And yeah, the hope is someone is seeing this and actually taking the feedback on as a massive message board for, from a slice of the F1 community that knows what they're talking about when it comes to single player experience on the F1 game. Like, how many years have we been playing career modes on this channel? How many years have you guys, my viewers that are like career mode content, how many years have you guys been playing career mode? So you guys know your stuff. You know what makes a good career mode. You know what you want. So let it be known in the comments below, and hopefully someone at Cody's and EA is seeing it and taking it actually on board and writing it down and bringing up in meetings. But yeah, so I think this is a very perfect time to bring out this sort of video basing off F1 24, winding down its support. So yeah, guys, if you have enjoyed it and did agree with the points, then be sure to hit the like button and let me know in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.